Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Nick, and we are back with another video. So for today's video, guys, we got my boy Tony in the chair. Now, I haven't seen him for the past 2, maybe even 3 months, so his hair's really grown out, and I think he had a wedding he had to go to, so he came in for a fresh chop, and we're about to get him right, guys. So before we get into that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and hit that like button, and let's get it. So first off, I went ahead and pent up his long hair on top, and I separated from the hair that I'm going to be cutting on the side. Now, he normally does an undercut. He likes to keep the side short. I'm gonna run the 2 guard just all the way around his head, and then we're gonna do a high taper on the side, and then we're gonna trim up the top 2 with some shears. So I've been cutting Tony's hair for the last couple years, and this has to be the longest that I've seen his hair, especially on the side, since I've known him. Normally he likes to keep it pretty short, so when he walked in the door, I almost had to do a double take, and it doesn't look that bad on him. But like I said, he has a wedding to go to, so he wanted to chop it down, and that's what we did. Alright guys, so for today's tutorial, we're going to start off with the back of the neck first. Now normally I would go ahead and start off with my T-outliners to set my initial bald guideline, but I know his neck is pretty sensitive, so I'm going to start with the clipper closed, and I'm going to set my first guideline, and then I'm going to come back with my lever all the way open on my magic clips, and then set my second guideline. Now I'm going to make sure that's about 1 inch wide, and I'm going to make sure it's as neat as possible. So now I have my number 1 guard on the clipper with the lever all the way open. Now his hair is pretty dark, and it's going to be hard to see this guideline setting in since this is only a 2 on top, but I just want to make sure I get this guideline in enough so I know where not to pass when I put my half guard on the clipper. And with this number 2 guard on my clipper now, I'm just going to be double checking and making sure all this hair is even down to a number 2. And then I'm going to come back with my 1.5 guard on my clipper with the lever open. And then I'm just going to work that lever down until this line starts to fade out. So I'm just going to skip the number 1 guard with the lever all the way closed and jump to the half guard with my lever all the way open. Now I'm going to stay below where I set that guideline with that number 1 guard, and I'm just going to buff this line out. Now it may or may not come out, and I might have to come back with the clipper with the lever all the way open and try to get some of that line out, but it should take it out, and I think it does take it out. So then we're going to come back with the clipper with no guard, and then we're just going to buff out that final guideline. So as you can see, there was a little bit of a line left behind, so I'm going to throw my half guard back on my clipper, and I'm just going to work the lever on the side until this line is buffed out. And also, don't be afraid to come back in detail. Sometimes when you go over it the first pass, lines don't come out, so definitely don't be afraid to go back and detail after your first pass. Now be mindful that I'm only using the corners of the blades right now because I don't want to set another line or raise that line up to where I'm chasing it up the back of his head. Now we're going to be doing a high taper on the side, so I'm going to start my initial bald guideline right where his C cup starts, and then I'm going to go ahead and open up that lever, and I'm going to set my second guideline. Now we're going to be doing the same exact process. We're going to be working up and then fading back down. I found that system really helps for me, and it helps my cuts come out real consistent because I can see how the fade is coming out by working my way down. So now we have my 1.5 guard on the clipper, and I'm continuing to work at this line. And you also want to be mindful when you're working around someone's ear. I cut someone's ear in barber school, and trust me guys, it was not a pretty sight. So always be mindful when you're cutting around someone's ear. So now we're skipping down to the half guard, lever all the way open, and the reason why I don't come back with the number 1 guard with the lever closed, because I found that the half guard with the lever all the way open is pretty much equivalent to the 1 guard closed, and it helps me save time, and if need be I can always come back with that 1 guard in detail if there's any line left over, but normally it works with just the half guard, so we're gonna see, and if we need it we'll come back with it. So I didn't come back with the number 1 guard, but I did throw back on my half guard, and I'm just going to continue to detail this gut and take out any lines that I may see. Now he doesn't get an edge up in the front, so we're just going to be lining up his vertical bars, and then we're going to come back with my Andis shaver, and we're just going to really make this cut pop. Alright guys, so I went ahead and did this side of the taper off camera, but we did the same exact process. We started with the clipper closed and the clipper open. We set our 1.5 guideline, and then we just worked our way down. And from what I could see on this camera, guys, that taper came out butter. So now we're just hitting with the razor to make sure his bars are crispy, and then we're going to get into cutting the top of his hair. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start by wetting his hair. Now he wanted about 1 inch to 1.5 inches off, so I'm going to start by making my first section in the front, and then I'm just going to work my way back with this guideline. Now this guideline is going to be my traveling guideline, which means I'm going to follow this guideline all the way around his head. So like I said, I'm going to start in the front, cut about 1 inch to 1.5 inches off, and then I'm just going to work my way to the back to make sure everything's even. So now I'm going to turn him to the side and do some cross checking just to make sure the hair is all even on top. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some Suavecito matte pomade right before I blow dry his hair. So I did use a roller brush when I blew dry his hair, but that was taking forever. So I went ahead and fast forward to his hair when his hair was pretty much already dry. And I'm just running my hands through the hair, you know, just making sure it's dry everywhere and just kind of giving a little bit of volume too as well. So now I have my wide tooth comb, and I'm going to go ahead and start to style his hair. Now he likes to wear his hair kind of slicked back to the side, so we're going to go ahead and do that for him. And man guys, from this view right here, this cut is crispy. Alright guys, so here's the finished product. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Now be on the lookout for more content. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and go ahead and like this video too as well. And until next time guys, I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace.